Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing good. Please enjoy sitting in the kinda dark with me today. It's warm out and just nice to have the lights off and a breeze coming through. Otherwise I'd like it would be too startling today. I didn't sleep well, but um that's another story. I know when it's time for me to write my letter this week, I'll be able to get it done. That'll be a day when um, Doug has no choice but to be busy and not really be able to stop me in the ways that he does. So that's when I get the most done, truth be told. So, anyway, I was watching A Call for an Uprising yesterday, or A Time for a Judgment, and he had a city that they're building over in Saudi Arabia. These things are like 100 miles long and so many miles wide, like 30. They're going to be like corridors, like straight across the earth, where people can go like from one end of the United States, or when it's here, to the other in like, or their country in like 20 minutes. They're mirrored glass enclosures with smart cities in there. And one thing about these mirrored buildings, there's hundreds of thousands of songbirds that come up from the southern hemisphere into the northern hemispheres in the different changing seasons, summertime, springtime, summertime, that are murdered by these glass buildings. I, for one, tried to fight really hard in my state to keep them from building a stadium out of glass, and I lost the fight. A lot of us that are like the Audubon Society and different birders were really concerned about these type of things, and they're worried about the environment, but yet they're not taking into consideration the damage that these mirrored. And even if they're not mirrored, what the are they building? Like, they want everybody to move into a city and be dependent on them, where they can go and what they can do, aside from what are the American dream of building your own home, or having land, or being able to travel and get in your car and go where you want to go, or a railroad, but whatever, when you want to do that. They're entirely trying to take that away from people in the future. Well, right now they're implementing it. They're building it. Just like those empty cities over in China, they're not just sitting there for any reason. They've been sitting there for 20 years now, waiting for the other countries to get on board with their communistic, totalitarian. It's not a government, it's tyranny. So, yeah, United Nations, rock on, you fucking traitors, you know? And the Nuremberg Code, and as far as people's uh, rights, human rights are being taken away, and people are just like, la la, I'm in la la land. It's unbelievable. So you'd think everybody would be a tiny bit upset and talking about it, you know, more. Because what they're doing now, and it isn't going to be long, in another 10 years, you will not recognize this planet unless good men and women start standing up against this tyranny in our own communities, and maybe not being loud, like violent, loud yelling. I don't mean yelling like that, but yelling at these people, you know. So, speaking of yelling, man, I felt like it last night. So I'm in my room, and Doug asked if he could come in and talk to me and tell me what was going on that I needed to know. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm okay. I'm good. And he's like, oh, well, just give me a little bit of your time. Okay. So he sits down in my recliner and proceeds to tell me what's going on with this friend we're borrowing a truck to has got an operation on Thursday and no vehicle to really get there, and then he needs transportation for work and stuff. So that's not a big deal. I mean, And then he was telling me about another friend and the dude's dad, and I'm already getting bored. It's like, okay, enough. But then he goes into, and here's the clincher. This is where I draw the line. And speaking of lines, that's what they call these communities, is a line community around the globe. They want to just have it shaped like a triangle where the communities meet in the middle from all the way around the world. Triangle. That's a curious shape, isn't it? So anyway, Dipwads proceeds to tell me that you are God, I am God, everybody's God, and I'm like, and he knows I would not have even dated this person if I had heard that shit out of his mouth. He told me I'm not understanding, I'm not giving him time to talk, and I said, you're right, I'm not. I wouldn't have even gone out with you. And he said, but that his mind has changed from then until now. And I told him I don't give a flying what you want to change or what you're saying. Get the hell away from me. I said, you didn't make me. You did not make yourself. I said, you might pretend to sit in that chair, but all you're doing is pretending because you are not the Almighty. Well, he persisted with till the point like, get the fuck out, get out of here. Conversation's over. And he kept yapping. I had a nice old black and white movie on with a soundtrack all composed, orchestrated, orchestral, and beautiful composition in them old ones, and was going to relax into some peace. So I thought, well, a thing that yaps worse than a naughty dog is out there sitting yapping and yapping. So I finally made myself a couple of, on little pieces of bread, a couple little salami sandwiches, and had a glass of milk. And um, he was up till 2 cooking shit out there and whatever. I asked him if he wanted me to leave the stuff out, and he heard me. I asked him twice, but the ignorant are ignorant. But whatever, just games. I told you, when he was walking out of my room, remember I told you I'd pay for giving our friend that pizza? He was walking out of my room. He goes, no more pizza for you, he says to me. I made it. It's like, oh, yeah, yeah. I said to him, I absolutely accomplished nothing without you in my life. I said, that's just the low life I am. So, yep, can't do a thing. Never did and never will. It's like, yeah, creep. But he knows how to get my goats. So today he gets up, tells me good morning. I said, is it? You know, I said, yeah. Okay, God. He said, yeah, good morning, God. And I said, whatever. I said, I'm God's daughter. I said, and then I said, does Dave, his friend, who's really extremely God loving man, I said, does Dave know your viewpoint on this? Did you tell him that we are all God's? We're all God's children. I'm God's daughter, but I didn't make myself. I said, did you tell? Well, I said, no. I said, I'm going to tell him how you feel, what you think, and what you always say to me, you know. Then he's really quiet for a long time. you know. Yeah, because it's different when you got somebody and Dave doesn't talk softly. He even when he's talking soft, he sounds like he's yelling. He's like about 6'4" or 6'5" somewhere, and like 250 pounds or something, and so what I'm trying, and he's not. Well, yeah, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. He would if somebody picked on him. It would take a lot. This dude's even been shot by people trying to take advantage of him and stuff. That's how nice he actually was. The funniest thing is, I worked with his mother. His little mommy was like, um, not even 5 foot tall. It was so funny just to see this big guy that came out of that little woman. She was my head nurse at my where I worked at the treatment center. So yeah. So anyway, so now it's a little quiet around here, but probably not for long. You know, whatever. Anyway, so much for that. Shit. God dang it, I hate that shit. I would not have even considered going out with somebody if they would have sat there the first time I ever met them and said, I am God, and then seen the look on my face and go, you are God, we're all gods. It's like right there. I wouldn't even wanted to even have a conversation with it. And then when they insult you and expect you to continue a conversation with them, that's rich. Like, right, you just insulted my intelligence and now you want to continue with your garbage, you know. The barrage of garbage. you know. Fucking clown ass people pretending they're God. Where the fuck do they get out? Can't explain to me if they were there and they had the science of, like I say, just explain how the first raindrop was made, let alone holding all the flesh together like God does and everything that he has created with his strength and abilities, that some piece of would say that they are that person, the almighty one true God, that they are that. He says, we're all gods. We're all a part of that. I said, a part? Yeah, a part. A part from me, like my kid, is a part of me, doesn't make my kid me, you know. But these fucking retarded, insane, some pretend like they're God and can't with I mean limited scientific evidence or limited empathy for people in the world is going to sit here and tell me that that's God, you know. Well, we know. And I told him, I said, get your satanic ass out of my room. And he sort of laughed. I said, beat it, Satan, get the fuck out of here, you know. Bastard. So that, you know who calls themselves God, right? When they're not. Yeah. Well, guess who? Wouldn't be me. I might be flesh of his flesh, but I am not the Almighty. And yes, contrary to some people's belief, that is one actual individual, our forefather, the creator that created us with sound, with word, the word he put in our hearts. And just because, and I got a glimpse of the science, but just because most people don't want to be close enough to the Almighty to understand His science doesn't mean that their lack of science speaks some kind of truth for itself. You know, not understanding something and replacing it with something else and just leaving it there doesn't make it so, you know. So today I'm thinking of, yeah, I drew a line like that song Yellow. I drew a line for you, and because they were all yellow, you know. I love that song. I felt like that song was freaking written for me because when that song came out, there is nobody in my life, man or woman, that was literally standing up against the demons and saying, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you and I'm going to win type of attitude. You know, they are now. But, and I've never changed my mind. I was born knowing I wasn't God because I was born knowing that there is a God. And that alone in itself, I think, for my faith, it's beyond faith. It's a actual knowing. It's like you don't have to have faith in your parents because they're there. You know they're your parents, you know. So it's the same feeling for me. That's all I ever had of any kind of good guidance in my life or anything that made sense was God sitting in my temple telling me what to do. And it might not even look right to some people, and I don't care. I really don't care. If it wasn't harming another human being and I'm on a mission, I'm going to do it no matter what he tells me to do. And I don't care what anybody thinks. It's sickening. It really is. If you heard it, it's not only blasphemous, it's fucking so arrogant. It makes me want to slap them, you know? And I don't. I control myself, you know? But he did go out there and he said, I wish you'd quit calling me names. And I almost started again. It's like, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. You know, there are not enough names to be called for that. So just knowing that he's looked at what I deem to be children in ways and talked to children in ways and done things like that that adults don't do, just that alone is punishable by death in my eyes. Yeah. Donald Trump said that too. I passed around 2 years ago what he had tweeted and sent it to Doug. It said pedophiles should be um, locked up right away with facing the death penalty immediately. I agree. And these people that go around saying things in front of little people that can literally alter their future and do things to them to cause them confusion and stuff. Yeah, like you too, buddy, with your bullshit. You go play pretend in your la la land with the other fat ass Satanists, okay? Anyway, yeah, okay, excuse me. My apologies, sweet people. Man, you know, it's sickening. It really is. I mean, and the reason I'm making a video and talking about it Because there's got to be somebody out there, some other person that's listening to this level of insanity out of somebody they know. There's got to be somebody. Isn't there anybody else that understands what I'm going through here? Just one person? Or do you see the insanity? Oh, this is coming out of somebody that has never had a baby, but he's got a dick. That's about it. Voila! I wield my sword at you. Boink, boink. And we make baby. Me like baby too much, but we make baby. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, if I get cut off, I did deep clean all this, but that doesn't mean that it won't. So I don't know if I'll be back today. Quite frankly, when I'm done here, I kept a sober mind for this, but let's just say I'm not going to be all day. So, hint, hint. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my youngest son has gotten his letter by now, telling him no thanks on coming to stay here to get on his feet. It's like, nah, I'm good. Thanks anyway, dude. I don't have a man in my life that has been in my life that isn't a satanic, nasty creature. And aside from a few friends around here and there, Satan gets to them too, but there's ones that their willpower is a lot stronger than the average human being. And even though he may creep in temporarily and I can hear it, it's forgivable because I know that's not them. I have to keep reminding them in my own subtle ways that, yeah, I know it's not you. Even if no words are spoken, that much to be said. Like that. There's a lot of times I wish I was all covered up like a Muslim woman, in that Syrian garb and with my Arabian horse and my sword. Bastards. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, when somebody treats you like a commodity and tries to sway your way of thinking with their insanity to control me because my will is strong and I know it. And somebody else is trying to use my willpower for their benefit. I said, oh, you can will everything you want? Is that right? Let me see. I can see him force everything he wants and manipulate everything he wants. But I said, can you make a flower? Make a flower. God, you know, I don't mean from God's material, everything that's already here, you know. No, none of God's elements, none of God's energy. You prove to me that you're the Almighty. Prove it, dude. Dude is the base description of dude is very old. It's an Aramaic term for or pre-Egyptian term for the hair on the elephant's ass is a dude, and that's what I'm dealing with. the equivalent. Hey, if people don't act human, I'm not, far be it from me to treat them like they are. You want to be treated like scum of the earth. Well, then act like scum of the earth. I'll oblige you. You know, I don't have a problem with that. Pretty good at spotting the scum and getting some Mr. Clean. That's my maiden name, by the way. Clean. And spraying their ass and cleaning it up. It's a Swedish name. It means the hill or mountain or the top. So, anyway, my name is Barbara Susan Clean Waste. And I don't know in the future if I'm going to keep the Weiss name or not. I haven't decided yet. I might just keep the Barbara Susan and have Susan as my last name. I'm not quite sure. Or I might go with my birth name before they took it away, being Kathleen Marie. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though, because I've been a Barb in people's side for a long time. So why change now, right? So, want a crown of thorns? Just a minute. I have a whole spool of barbed wire. I'll show you what it's like. One time I was a kid, I was running my horse so fast, and she was this just black, magnificent, long tail, long mane, just a white dot right here. Everything else, she was so dark, she shined like navy blue in the sun. Just beautiful. Her name was Spade, and we're running very fast. She was so quick, it was almost like scary quick, and ran up to the fence and dumped me right into the barbed wire. And she knew what she was going to do, but I didn't. We were just getting to know each other. So she did stop doing that type of thing to me. And then I could like take my guitar. I'd wear like my bikini out in the backfield, have my guitar, sit on her backwards, play my guitar, and just have a sunbathe in the sun riding my horse. Or I'd jump on her from like pole vault from her behind, jump onto her, and the look on her face the first time I did that, she was like, "What? You're getting on the wrong way," you know. She was funny. Really good. Beautiful, beautiful animal. I could stand her up so straight when I was on her back and hug her in tight, and we'd just be a silhouette just standing up. And that takes a lot of balance and strength for both of you, for the rider. And dance with her. We do dressage, you know. Mostly was like I put on like back was Deep Purple was really popular, and I had these ginormous speakers, 6 of them, and I put on Smoke on the Water and get her to dancing doon 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 like that out in the yard, and just she was so fucking cool. Just beautiful horse. But then my last one I had, Dusty, she was gosh, she was a beast. 16.3 hands, if you know how tall that is. So, yeah, thoroughbred quarter horse mix. My first one was quarter horse Welsh. So that's why she had that long, long mane with the Welsh blood in there, which are really beautiful little animals. Muscular, stocky, and powerful. She was my jumper. So she would jump anything I had her jump. She would swim. If I took her over to the lake, we'd go swimming. And, yeah, we went on adventures. When I took her into town one time, this little town, Bethel, and the cop told me he didn't want my horse on Main Street. And he said, I don't want you walking your horse down Main Street. So next time I came into town, I ran her down Main Street over to my friend's house and just sat there in his yard and waited for this cop that had tried to rape me. And he ended up getting his ass kicked for it, too. They broke his back, some friends of mine. You don't try and rape kids, it's not a cool thing. Especially, I was a runaway and he gave me a choice. He'd sit in his car drinking alcohol, drinking whiskey, have the bottle under his seat, and arrest drunks. That's the piece of shit, you know. But you know, he didn't really say anything either because I was in this older friend's yard, and a lot of the people around there were Hell's Angels, and so yeah, I knew what I was doing. I used to like babysit their dogs and clean their houses and do babysit their kids, and so in that respect, I had it kind of made because I had my own protection like that, you know. And still would if I got a hold of them, but well, they don't live far away, you know. Well, I'm glad I got some of that off to my chestises because that's hard to bear. You know. I really never would have even dated it. Never, not close to ever in anybody's existence. Mine, yours, a puppy's, ants, even a microorganism not in any existence would I have ever considered a relationship with somebody that told me that everybody was God or they are God. That never would have happened. And change his mind. Oh, after 30 years, you're going to change your mind? Okay, Satan, like I didn't know to begin with. It'd be a trip. You should meet this person. I mean, you'd see right through it if you're intelligent, but I mean, just the conversation alone and the shit he comes up with would totally blow your mind. It is quite entertaining in a strange way. And nothing I say here, nothing I say to him is ever hidden. That's the way I always am. I don't care. I came out here to make friends and find like minded people, and somebody else, I don't care about their whatever you call it, their insanity, you know, because they couldn't will you can will a drop of water out of the air for yourself. And if you can, that's with the grace of God. And the ones that can do that, we know that is true. So, anyway, I think I'm going to do a rain dance, only I'm going to ask for fire. So, hoya, maya, something like that. I have no clue. No, I was my Native American